Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just remembered what I was going to say earlier. Blockchain technology, back to that, blockchain technology is like the internet in the 90s. Yeah. So that's what I just wanted to say. And you also made a great point with the accessibility. And what does this mean for the future of mining on mobile phones?
So I think that the useful it, in order for you to have a useful cryptocurrency, uh, you can't think 2009. So Bitcoin was great because it proved to the world that cryptocurrencies exist, and it is possible to have a decentralized ledger that is maintaining an accurate essentially accurately maintains the balances of different people, because before that you would need a centralized bank to tell you what your true balance is. And with Bitcoin, the proof of concept of a decentralized bank essentially is possible. But that was 2009, and people were using computers, and it was a little slow, and it's consuming a lot of energy, as we all say, and its block takes 10 minutes. But today, if you want to have a cryptocurrency that is functional and useful to everyday people, it needs to be on mobile, and it needs to be more faster and more accessible. So to answer your question, I think that it is the future. Mobile, it has to be mobile.
Mm-hmm. Just like the metaverse. Pretty
Yeah.
soon. Do you teach class from home?
I my primary job is building Pi network, but it just happens that every year since I left Stanford, I have been invited to co-instruct one of the blockchain classes over at Stanford. It's not official, but it just every year it just happens that they invite me again. So I teach the technical lectures in that class, and other instructors teach non-technical aspects.
Okay, okay. I like it. I like it. Now, what are the stages of verification? I know sometimes it could be a little bit complex with the authenticator, and it can be kind of tedious to some people. So,
The stages of authentication. Can you maybe help me understand your question a little more?
like
What you
the like how to access the cryptocurrencies or the
Oh,
coins.
so the Pi? Are you talking
Yeah,
about Pi?
yeah,
Mhm.
to like how do I say, to make sure the person that's actually accessing it is actually them, not and not some hacker from across the other side of the world.
Yeah, there are two questions here. I guess one is about the user and one is about the consensus algorithm. I think you're more interested about the user. So the so Pi has two levels.
Mhm.
So first of all, for the past few years, people have been mining it through a mobile app. So on that mobile app, they have been accumulating Pi as, let's say, um, tokens, and these are not these are the tokens that are going to be migrated into the mainnet blockchain, and has been migrating. We have actually already migrated over 2.5 something million people into the mainnet blockchain. So for these two systems, there is essentially two different ways of authenticating yourself. So for the mobile app system, we use a traditional username, password, or you can have Facebook sign in and a few other Apple sign in and a few other ways to authenticate yourself. Now, for the actual blockchain, which is what happens after you KYC and your balance is migrated from the app into the blockchain, for the actual blockchain, we use non-custodial wallets. That's a mouthful, but for the audience who may not know what this means, it means that the users will have to remember a passphrase And that passphrase is enough to fully authenticate themselves. And no one else knows that passphrase, to the point that if someone were to hack it, theoretically, without stealing it from you using a virus, if they were to actually hack it and hack SATU56, it would take them 100 billion years to do it using computational methods. Of course, they can try to deceive you, to give them your passphrase, which is a different problem. It's a user experience problem, but in terms of cryptography, it's very strong. So essentially, the proper way all cryptocurrencies are supposed to do it is through non-custodial wallets. So the users have to remember this passphrase. Now, because this passphrase is a little difficult to remember, we ask the users to save it on somewhere safe, and we help them use the phone's biometric features, such as the thumbprint or the facial scan, to essentially load up this passphrase using their phone's algorithms. And there are some phones, depending on companies, I guess you can tell that these days most phones are doing a pretty good job at securing those data.
The simplicity of it is very important, and I hope this encourages people to jump into it and not be afraid of memorizing a phrase. Just get into it. It's not that hard, and the more you learn about it, the easier it'll become. So
the good thing about the Pi, if you want me to add this, is that the whole ecosystem is built around the program we call the Pi browser. So it's like a web browser, but for Pi applications, and you can access the ecosystem there. And one of the applications of this Pi browser is the Pi wallet. So essentially, we have created a system where the various Pi apps can talk to each other and the Pi wallet, and they are able to interconnect. So let's say you are on a gaming app and you want to spend a few tokens to continue where you left off. So you say, I want to do it. You push a button, then it pulls the Pi wallet in front of you. Then you touch your thumb. It asks you if you are sure that you want to submit this amount of Pi to that specific app. You say yes or no, and then Pi is transmitted to the app, and you are directed back to where you were. And this whole thing connects together, making it as seamless as possible for the end user. So even though these concepts, cryptocurrencies and blockchain and all these things are sometimes could be very complicated for non-technical audience, we're trying to make it as simple as possible.
Now, would that be the trust graph working with the ecosystem?
Now, the trust graph is something core to our consensus algorithm. So it's the way that Pi works is it essentially creates a trust graph of people who are considered to be on the mainnet in a way. And if you there is a mathematical proof and a paper that is explaining this, which is about 20 pages long. But if you're trying to think of it very, very intuitively, if the Pi network was it wasn't the 35 million people plus we have, but it was just me, you, and a couple of your friends. And the way it works at Pi is that we get to select 3 to 5 people we know and trust, literally from our contact list. And this is for us our security circle. And the combination of all the security circles creates the trust graph. So if in the network it was me pointing at you and 2 other people, and you were pointing at me and some of them, and they were pointing at you, and we were pointing at each other. Essentially, if someone were to come and create 1,000 fake accounts, then those fake accounts wouldn't be able to affect the decisions that we make or where we allocate our trust. Because in order for them to to modify anything in our decisions, they would need to convince us to stop pointing at each other and start pointing at them.
Okay. Okay. Now you have a robust active member users, and it's 35 million plus, and that's pretty impressive.